What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Sohinki channel. I know it's been a while, but I've been waiting for a game like this to really sink my teeth into, and I'm finally excited to come back and make some more videos on this channel. And what better game to do it for than DC Dual Force? This is a new card game from DC Dual Force. A lot of people are calling it DC's answer to Marvel Snap, but I think that kind of cheapens the game a little bit. And honestly, this game scratches sort of a strategic itch that I think Marvel Snap does not scratch, simply because Marvel Snap is, while strategic, very based on luck and RNG and random effects that you can't control, whereas this game is a lot more like a traditional card game like Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone that is a little bit more based on tactics, skill, deck building, etc. So the first thing I want to do is I want to cover, how you build a deck, how the decks work, and then we'll go into a game and we'll go over. I'm going to use a very basic deck today, not super combo oriented or anything, and we'll kind of explain how things are going as they go, the basic mechanics, so on and so forth. So we're going to be using this deck. This is sort of a zoo deck that I put together, but let's go ahead and take a look at it, and we'll talk about exactly how the decks are made. So basically, each deck is going to be comprised of 2 leaders. And your leaders are going to be of one of 5 factions. Think of these like the colors in Magic the Gathering. So you have Might, Energy, Tactics, Anarchy, and Tyranny. And as you can see on each hero card, for example, Aquaman has a red border on his name, so that's going to be a Might hero. Hal Jordan, for example, is green, so he's an Energy hero, so on and so forth. So the deck that I've chosen to make isn't exactly, the best in terms of strategy, but I wanted to put together a deck that was just like villains only. So I have Lex Luthor and the Joker, and I actually do think the Anarchy and Tyranny cards go pretty well together. So the next part of building the deck, after you've chosen your leaders, is you'll go into the card section, and if you have 2 leaders from different factions, you will have 20 cards from each faction, so it's a total 40 card deck. But if you have 2 leaders of the same faction, it'll obviously be 40 cards from that faction. You'll go ahead and you'll pick cards, sort of either minions or spells. As you can see here, this is the breakdown. I only have 5 spells. I have 35 minions, so this is obviously a zoo deck, very minion-focused deck with a lot of minion-heavy interactions. And then over here, you'll see we have basically the costs of everything. So you'll think of the black symbol or the empty symbol like a free card. The bronze symbol would be like almost like a 1 cost. The silver is almost like a 2 cost, and then the most expensive are the gold, which is more like a 3 cost. And I'll kind of explain how those costs are spent as we get into a match, but that's the basic of how it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and take this simple zoo deck into the match, and I'll kind of explain things as it goes. But before we get in, I'll just explain this is sort of a tribal deck. It's based on the tribe that you'll see here, Arkham Inmate. So I'm playing a bunch of cards that benefit from playing Arkham Inmates. So, for example, Clayface, after you deploy another Arkham Inmate, gets +2/+1. Black Mask, after you deploy another Arkham Inmate, give your Arkham Inmates +1/+1. The Penguin, after an Arkham Inmate attacks and KOs an enemy, give Arkham Inmates everywhere +1/+1. So that's kind of the strength of this deck, is using the Arkham Inmate tribe to build up big boards, control the board, and then ultimately finish your opponent. And basically, the way you end the game is by killing both of the enemy leaders. Once you've done that, the game ends. That's it. You've won. So let's get into a match, and I'll explain things as they go. Okay. So we're starting off. We are up against Wonder Woman and Lex Luthor. Penguin is a good card for our deck, but we're really looking for early cards. Jailbreak is phenomenal, so we actually will hold on to that. But I'm going to ditch these 2 cards to hopefully get some earlier cards to play. We got Clayface, which is great, which we can play with Mr. Freeze if we hold on to it. So that's going to sort of be our game plan for right now. One thing I didn't go over because, we didn't have to at the time, was hero abilities. Every hero has an ability, and every turn you're going to start, except for your first turn, if you're going first in the entire match, you will get 1 charge on your hero ability. Once you're up to 3 charges, for example, for the Joker, he gets 2 attack, and he deals 4 shots that do 1 damage randomly to the board. Wonder Woman is only a 2, so once she gets 2 charges, she can activate this. She gives recruits +1, and she also will have 4 attack that turn. What we're going to do is we are simply... we're either going to do nothing, or we're going to consider playing Shadow on the board just as something to put out. And I think that is the route we are going to go. We just want to be playing something. As you saw, turn 1, you start with 1 bronze resource. Once it gets to turn 2, you'll have 2 bronze. The following turn will be 1 silver, 1 bronze. Turn after that, 2 silver. And then finally, you'll end up with 1 gold and 1 silver, and that is sort of the last resource level that you'll get to. Alright, Prometheus is in there. Unfortunately, we do not have anything to counter that, other than the fact that we can, of course, play Clayface in the back, and then play Mr. Freeze in front of him. We're gonna go ahead and target Mr. Freeze on Wonder Woman. This does 3 damage and exhausts them, so what that's going to mean is, if she attacks next turn, well, if she uses the ability next turn, she won't be able to take advantage of the attack because she can't attack. We're gonna go ahead and end our turn. I should probably take this time to explain the board a little bit. Basically, anything in the front line will block anything in the back line. So if I want to block for the Joker, for example, I can put something in front of the Joker. This time I wanted to protect Clayface, so I, of course, decided to play Clayface in the back and then something in front of him. He decided to give +1/+1 to, okay, so he's just buffing the health of his guys, which is fine. And now, we're going to be in the situation where we have 1 silver resource, so hopefully, we're gonna get some really good outcomes from this, which is going to summon 2 Arkham inmates from the top half of my deck. So first and foremost, we're going to do that. Summon 2 Arkham inmates. And we'll see what we get. We got our own Prometheus, and we got, the Ventriloquist, which is great. This guy obviously got, very buffed, so that's nice. I think what we want to do right now is we're going to take away the shield of this 2/3, which is beautiful. Then we're going to go ahead and play Amygdala, which is another Arkham inmate, which is going to buff our Clayface in the backline once again. We're going to do 3 damage randomly to the board. We were able to snipe that 1 unit in the back because of the Ventriloquist, and now, we have Clayface coming out to clear this minion in the front. This is really powerful, I think, because clearly his deck is a very board-based deck, and we're clearing things off the board. Now, Lex Luthor is going to eventually be able to, for 4, KO Recruit. So he'll probably be doing that on my Clayface if he can't clear it any other way, but it looks like he has his own shenanigans with Arkham inmates. Ooh, I haven't seen this one. What does this say? And Anton Arcane gets +1/+1 for each friendly recruit. Oh! Well, he just decided that I had too much control of the board, and he decided to leave. So there we go. Game 1 under the belt, and it's a victory. Pretty solid. That's kind of rare, honestly. I picked a board-based deck because they're a little more rare in the game. A lot of people are going for more like combo-heavy decks or decks that use a lot of spells. But I just wanted to pick a board-based deck because I thought it would be simple, and we happened to run into another one, and we happened to have a better hand. So, good stuff. Let's go ahead. I think there's a couple things I didn't quite explain thoroughly. So we're gonna get back into another game. Let's play a second match and see how this one goes. One thing I think I didn't talk about that well is the keywords on the cards. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're talking about that as we get into the game. But if you play Magic the Gathering or if you play Hearthstone, a lot of these are going to be very familiar to you. For example, there's something called Deploy. And Deploy would be like a Battle Cry ability or an Enter the Battlefield effect. Lethal, for example, would be like Death Touch. Guard, which we saw in that last game, that's like Taunt in Hearthstone. Something has to attack that before Taunt. There's something called Hunter, which is basically like unblockable, which means that they can attack past a guard unit. So a lot of these keywords are going to be very familiar to you. Hidden would be like Stealth in Hearthstone. Parting Shot would be like a Death Rattle or like a, on-death effect. Nisa Al Ghul is phenomenal, but only when paired with other early cards, so I'm going to go ahead and redraw all these, even though some of these are very powerful. I believe Nisa Al Ghul with some earlier cards will be a lot better. And this has the potential to be an amazing hand, but we are up against a very powerful combo as well. This is Hal Jordan and Shazam. Basically, every time Shazam uses his power, he's going to get 5 attack, but he's going to create lightning bolts that go in his deck. And what those do is they do 2 damage, they're free cost, and he draws a card after using it. So the more lightning bolts in the deck, the more he gets to cycle, remove things on the board. So you basically want to kill Shazam as early as possible. Hal Jordan, on the other hand, he's a little bit of a ramp guy. So he gets 3 attack, he also generates an extra resource for their guy to play that turn. We're hoping to get something to play with the Penguin. We want some Arkham inmates to stick on the board before we play him, because we then want to use them to generate more... Okay, that is a really bad draw. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run Nisal Ghul in. That will buff our Nisal Ghul in our hand. And then we're going to play the Nisal Ghul in the middle here. We don't have another Arkham inmate to play with our Ventriloquist, so we're going to hold on to that. And sadly, we are going to be passing our turn. He's getting closer to being able to use his Hal Jordan, which is scary. One thing we didn't point out is this ability says, at the start of your first turn, create a green lantern in your hand. So this is very possibly created by Hal Jordan on turn 1. But that's okay. I think as long as we're holding off and playing our combos intelligently, we can still get the board back and win this game. It is just going to be a little on the tougher side. The nice thing is we are getting a big fat Lex Luthor. Ooh, okay, he plays another Jessica Cruz. So it says, you may pay 1 bronze to give Jessica Cruz and a random Green Lantern in your hand plus 3 attack. So she's big enough that she can kill my Nisa Al Ghul if I want, which could benefit me depending on what we draw. He decides to attack the Joker in the face, which is understandable. Ooh, baby, that is phenomenal. So what we're going to do here is we are going to do this, kill that guy. Then we're going to play our Ventriloquist as a 3. Sadly, though, so here is the problem with doing this, is that he is going to be able to clear our Ventriloquist. But we're going to play a Ventriloquist in the back, and then we're going to play our Man-Bat, which is also buffed by Nisa Al Ghul. As you can see, if you have a silver resource, what it'll do is it'll use your bottom resource. So if you have a silver resource, and you don't play a silver card, it still uses it up, but it allows you to use a lesser resource if you want. But you can only play 2 cards per turn unless you have free cards to play. So he is going to be able to clear everything next turn, which sucks. But let's go ahead and target Shazam. That's the one we want to kill, I think, first, if we do, in fact, end up winning the game. Lex Luthor is going to be something that we need to rely on pretty heavily going into the later parts of the game as well. And the one good news is that he is using up his powers here, so. Alright, so he's deciding that he wants to use his powers to attack my Joker, which makes sense.
Fully charged.
Alright. Generated an extra resource. 4/4 with Aura. Gives other friendly Aura units +2/+2, but he didn't have any, so it didn't really do anything. So yeah, he's deciding that he just wants to aggro down the Joker as fast as possible, which is understandable. The good news is he is using up the cards in his hand, and eventually we will have a big blocker for the Joker, so we might just have to sacrifice the Penguin, depending on how things go, to pop in front of the Joker here. But we'll see. We'll see what we draw. Now, Black Mask is really, really good. That being said, it just kind of depends how we want to play this. The first thing that we need to do is use Joker's ability, see where the shots go. So none of them hit the Aura guy, which kind of sucks. So we're going to play Black Mask, and then we're going to play the Penguin, which will buff the Penguin up to 6, because Black Mask gives all my Arkham inmates, when they're played, +1/+1. Then we're going to go ahead and attack Shazam. He can trade off for free with the 4/4. But next turn we can play Lex Luthor, so that is going to be another big blocker that we can use to block for the Joker and keep him alive, which is kind of going to be where we have to be at. Interesting. Only 1 card left to play. That is a big boy. What does that do? You may pay 1, summon a construct. Okay, so he just attacked. Alright. Beautiful. He did not summon the construct, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to... You know, there's a lot of different ways we can go here. But I think what we should do is... I think we'll zap this guy in the back. We can't zap the 4/1. He doesn't have a lot of cards in his hand. So, the good news about that is that we can let him generate a bronze resource because he's not really going to have too much to do. This is going to buff any Arkham inmate in my deck. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to play Lex Luthor in front of himself, which is hilarious. And then we're going to play Count Vertigo. I don't know if this makes him discard a card or not. It does, and we just draw for free, which is phenomenal. Beautiful. That worked out great. So now, he's not charged up on his abilities. We get a free card draw off of Lex Luthor because it says at the end of the turn if he didn't attack, draw a card. We have Jailbreak, which is going to summon 2 more inmates, which are going to be buffed up. So we actually are bringing this game back pretty heavily in our favor, which is nice. And it's going to depend what he's got in his hand for whether or not we're scared right now. That is of no concern, which is great. That is of no concern, which is great. Oh, he paid the extra resource to give him +1/+1 in aura. And then we'll see what he decides to do. He decides to take out the Penguin. Probably a smart decision. And then we're going to take over this board pretty heavily here. We have 10 that we could do directly to Shazam, but I don't think we're going to do that. What we're going to do instead is we're going to play the Black Mask. Then we are going to play Count Vertigo on the 4/3. Or we're going to run him into the 4/3. Then we're going to Jailbreak, summon 2 Arkham inmates from the top half of my deck, which is phenomenal. They're going to be buffed. Oh, they are big, big boys because of the fact that the Penguin killed some stuff. And then, oh, sadly, we did misplay. I should have swung and hit this first. But because we can't, I'm going to go ahead and just pass the turn right now. He's going to draw an extra card. We did mess up in that way. But that being said, we're looking pretty okay. We have big fat... these guys got big because of the Penguin buff, but also because we have Black Mask on the board, so they buffed when they both came out. 6 7s, man. That is real, real good. Now, he can definitely kill this just by attacking with his heroes. The question is whether or not he can do 4 additional damage on top of that. So the best way to do this actually would be Hal Jordan plus this attacks into this, and then he does 5 damage to Joker's face. So he actually has to do 3 damage on top from his hand. We'll see if he's able to do that. I will say, though, I do think we're in a good spot, no matter what he does. Seek a Green Lantern, give them +2. Okay, that's not a huge deal. He's going to get 1 bronze back from using the Hal Jordan's power. Hal Jordan uses it. He's going to get the free bronze, so that's a nice little ramp for him. Kilowog's in play. That being said, I don't think that's that big of a deal. Oh, he paid the extra to buff the guy. So the question is going to be, what's he going to kill here? But I think because of the fact that we have Black Mask in play, we're actually going to be able to buff these guys big enough to kill the Kilowog, and then that's not a big deal. So he's deciding to kill Lex Luthor here, which is an interesting decision. Hal Jordan's going to swing into it. Okay. Ooh, Mad Hatter. After you deploy an Arkham inmate, give them +2/+2. Each player draws a card. I don't think I want to draw a card just yet. I think we want to play Punchline. Okay. That's 7/8. Then we're going to go ahead and use Joker's power. Now, because of Punchline giving us firepower +1, Joker's power is going to do 2 damage to everything that it hits. That's actually perfect. So we're going to have this Amygdala swing in. Oh, these attack randomly. I completely forgot about that. So hopefully that hits that. Perfect. Then we're going to go ahead and have Black Mass sitting in the back. Kill the Shazam. That is beautiful, beautiful stuff. And then I think rather than value having a 7/1 on the board, we're going to go ahead and play Mr. Freeze as a 4/4. And we're going to save... we're going to go ahead and save our card draw from the Mad Hatter because we don't want to draw him a card right away. And then our Joker will swing his 2 attack for 2 over there. And this game should be pretty locked up. A really good comeback. I think we read the game really well in terms of what he was able to do. Didn't panic about the extra resources. And, yeah. Strategically, I think, dude, we played that great. That was an amazing game. Heck yeah, man. So there you have it, guys. That is 2 games of DC Dual Force. And this, keep in mind, it probably sounded like I was explaining a lot. I think this is one of the more basic decks that you can play. This sort of like Arkham Inmate Zoo deck. I've made a lot more complicated decks that I would love to show off in the future. And to be honest, I'm loving this game so much. You can expect a ton of YouTube videos coming from me in the near future on DC Dual Force. I want to really go hard on this game because I'm having a ton of fun with it. I'm going to be streaming this game every day on twitch.tv/Sohinki if you want to check me out live. But if not, if you just like these edited videos instead, then definitely stick around here because I'm going to be posting deck build videos, showing those off, general strategy videos, that kind of thing. So keep it locked here on youtube.com/Sohinki. And if you haven't subscribed already, if you're new here, if you're just coming for the DC Dual Force content, definitely hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be posting a lot of videos. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I made this make some amount of sense, and I will see you all next time.